Hi guys, Dr. Pam here. Today I am here celebrating my mother. Today is the marks 1 year since my mom died last year in April 25th. She took her last breath. But I'm here to celebrate her, and I'm also here to encourage people who have lost their parents, who have lost their mom, their dad, that it's okay to grieve, but it's more okay to find great things that your loved one did for you so that you can live the memory of your loved one. And I'm here to live the memory of my mother. In this office, my office, I have a picture of my mom up there, and always when I look at it, it just brings back great memories. Like most of you know, I was born in Africa, raised in Africa. I came here in my mid to late 20s in USA, and I started a family in my late 20s. And you know how babysitting is so hard here in the US. So I asked my mom, by then my dad was alive, to come and support me. And she came with my cousin, and my cousin went back. She came to support me, and that support was unwavering. She supported me through happiness, through sad times. She was here with me. As she came when I think my second born was like 6 months, and she left here when I think my daughter was like I would say 10 years or 11 years. But when my mom came here, she promised me, she said, my daughter, because I had wanted to become a doctor. And she said, I will be here with you, help you raise your children. And I also want you to graduate. I have to see you graduate as a doctor. That was a dream. My mom never had any formal education, but that was a dream for her, to have a daughter, to have one person in the family become a doctor. And she was able to witness that. And after I graduated, she was like, my daughter, I'm going back to Africa. I am tired. I want to go back to my land where I was born. And I as much as I didn't want her to go, I just let her go, because I had to fulfill the promise. She did a part of the promise, and I did my part of the promise. But what else do I remember about my mom? I remember through the hard times too, she was there for me. I remember she lived with me in the house for a while, for a long time. And then when things were not going well with my ex-husband, he decided he didn't want my mom in the house. I don't know, for some reason, he didn't want her. So I was like, okay, I will take her out, because I was fighting for my marriage. I wanted the marriage to work by all means. So I said, okay, if you want mom out of the house, I'm going to get an apartment, and she'll stay in the apartment, because I still need her help. I had not finished my doctorate. I was still working on my doctorate. So I had to rent a apartment for her. She lived like 20 minutes, maybe 25 minutes from my house, because I took her closer to my niece, which eventually one of my nieces came and lived with her because she was old. So I rented an apartment for her, and she stayed in that apartment. I would either drop the kids there in the morning and go to work and pick them later after work, or sometimes she will come to the house. I'll pick her to come to the house and stay. So when I come back in the evening, I drop her. That was how she supported me all throughout when she lived in the apartment. But you know what? Even after she went to the apartment, our marriage did not survive. So we eventually got divorced, and she came back to the house. And that was the best thing, because latter years, she lived with us until she went to Africa, and she passed on. What are the lessons that I learned from my mother? One of the biggest lessons I learned, my mother was a giver. Even in Africa, she was a giver. She was giving. And I picked that from her. And also, my mom was a very strong personality. Whatever she wanted, she would get. And I think I picked that from her too. I'm very strong. If I want something, I'm going to go for it. I know I'm going to fail so many times, but I'm going to go for it. So I picked that from her. Another thing that I picked from my mother was that she was non-judgmental and she loved her children equally. People say, oh, people don't love their children equally. My mom did. And she did her grandchildren too. I remember one of my nieces was saying, you know what, Grandma, when I came, I felt like I was the best grandchild. My mom had grandchildren from the boys' side and grandchildren from the girls' side. But guess what? She loved them equally. She would fight for them. I remember when I came to States, one of my nieces, she was to come here, my sister's daughter. My mom would be talking about that thing every day until I was like, you know what? I'm going to help her get an I-20 for her. She comes. She would pray for that girl. That was my sister's daughter. She prayed for her, prayed for her. Actually, not even one, two of my sister's daughters. She prayed, and she would pray so I can hear it. So eventually, I brought those girls here. They are here in the United States. Guess what? My brother, who had passed on, had a daughter. My mom would pray for that daughter. That's my brother's daughter. She would pray. Even she would, she was going on and on. And I also helped her. She came to the United States. Why am I telling you this? As parents, some parents have preferences, kids of the boys, because especially African parents, kids of the boys are, like the boys are going to inherit stuff like that. My mom never had, you would come to her, she would think you're the best, and the other person will come, she'll think they're the best. So that is one thing that she taught me, that you have to love your children equally, and you also have to listen. Sometimes I'll tell her things because I'm mad with my siblings. She will listen, and she will be like, okay, your siblings, you remember. And my other siblings will tell her things, but she will not take them personal. She will listen to you, but she would still love you, but she would still love the other siblings. So she never had favorism. All her children thought they were the best. And sometimes I'll argue. I'll argue with her. I'll be like, you love so-and-so, you love so-and-so. And I would hear my other siblings saying, oh, you love Mokoti. I'm the last one. You love Mokoti. So those are the memories for me that I remember. And I want to be that same mother who loves her children regardless, who loves them equally regardless, and who loves the grandchildren equally regardless. So my mom, the reason why I'm doing this special dedication is because my mom was my support group, was my support. She was my number one fan. She supported me 100%. And guess what? Even when I was falling, when things were not right, she supported me. She saw me cry and she hugged me. She saw me at the happiest and she hugged me. So many women and men do not have those privileges of having a mother like this. And I'm doing this so that even when I'm gone, my children will watch this and be like, ooh. Or other people who are mothers out here, they will watch and say, hey, I want to be that kind of mother. To be there for my children, to be there for my grandchildren, to be that mother who is non-judgmental, to be that mother who is loving, caring. That was my mother. What lessons do you learn from here? Be kind to your parents. I know some people who don't talk to their mothers because she did something stupid. You don't talk to them for 5 years, 5 years. You are lost time. You will never get that time. When they're gone, they're gone. You never spend that time with her. Now you want to compensate with other things. They will never help because you lost the time. So the time your mother is here, cherish that time. Spend time with them. Do things that will add value, that will create memories. Another thing I also want to say for daughters, enjoy your mothers. Do the best for your mothers. Be your best friend to your mother, especially when you are grown. When you are young, you have to be a mother. But when you are grown, let your mother be your friend. Call her, check on them. For those of us here in diaspora, we have mothers in Africa, and they have opportunity to come to USA and see the fruits of their hard work, please do that. Let me tell you how my mother came here. I had a friend from Nigeria, Hope. Hope told me she came to USA and her mother was sick. She never had opportunity to bring her. She said, Pam, by then I was actually in my undergrad. She said, Pam, if you ever have opportunity to bring your mother, please do it. I never did. I want you to do it because that's the best gift you can give yourself. And yes, I'm thankful to Hope because I brought my mother. She lived with me for 20 years. Every single day I saw her for the 20 years she lived with me. We enjoyed everything together. So why do I tell you this? Spend time when you go to, you are not able to bring your mother to come and see you, see the greatness of you. Go when you go to Africa, spend time with them, call them, send them money, let them be comfortable because they're here for a short time. Thank you to my children. I love you. You got the best experience of a grandma. I remember this weekend, my second-born son, he came home, he said, you know what, Ma? We want to cook chapatis the way grandma used to sit there. I'm going to sit in the chair and put a stool that she used to put her feet on, and I would assume grandma is here. We'll cook chapatis because she would be singing at the background, and I would assume that is how I'm going to honor her. You know why he did that? Because he remembers the great memories. My mom never spoke English, but she found a way of communicating with my children. As you watch this, I want you to be blessed. A blessing from a daughter to a wonderful, wonderful mother. I love you, Mama. Mama Kemuntu. Thank you. God bless you.